The foundation is fortunate to be surrounded by a pool of doctors and scientists, rich in knowledge and experience. Often the medical professionals who support the mission of the foundation are involved in many areas of the foundation's work. This is true of the chairman of our medical advisory board, Dr. Patrick Stiff. Dr. Stiff has been an active member of the medical advisory board, participated in a number of our town hall meetings over the years, and invited the Leukemia Research Foundation to work with him in the creation of the Treatment Options Conference for blood cancer patients that was developed 10 years ago, and at the time was the first type of conference in the country that was like that. Now there's a couple that are copying us, but that's good because they are helping to educate patients that really need to know what their treatment options are. You can read more about this world-renowned credentials in today's program, but here today to formally accept this year's medical research grants on behalf of the selected scientists, please welcome the director of the Cardinal Bernardin Cancer Center at Loyola Medical Center and chair of the LRS Medical Advisory Board, Dr. Patrick Stiff.
So I have this, no I don't. I'm going to be very brief to catch us up. We had 72 grants submitted this year. That's a huge number of grants from all over the world, as Kevin mentioned. And I have to tell you that the volunteers, the physicians and scientists that volunteered to do this, and we come hand in hand, so to speak, every year to get them to agree to it. But as a group, I was actually shocked. They were thrilled with the possibility of offering 12 grants. We're now into the second generation of grantees, which means that some of the people that are mentoring the current award winners were actually LRF recipients way back when. So we know that the process actually works well in providing career advancement for many young scientists who have no other opportunities to get individual funding from an organization that allows them to start their career. Now, many physicians and many scientists go to programs, universities, and they're given what we call startup packages, which provides them salary support, usually technical support from the institution to provide for laboratory researchers and postdocs. Postdocs are those that are also in training. They not only provide some help, but they also require a lot of help and assistance in getting their careers up and going. So in a sense, they come to these institutions already with two jobs, one to do research, to get funding, and to provide training for individuals. Many times they're not provided with sufficient resources to allow them to actually get their projects off the ground. And that's where the LRF has come in. That's where you all come in, because you provide those resources. And that's what provides the excitement for when we get together at Loyola every June to review the grants. 72 grants. I remember back when I first started, we were getting 20 to 25 grants, now 72. I think it underscores not only the value of these grants, but the importance that the LRF, and you all provide in getting these careers up and going. I really don't need to say more. You heard about it from the people that are actually grantees. They were more than happy to provide testimony to what you all can provide. So on behalf of all the physicians and basic scientists that review these grants, we actually learn a little bit at the same time. I smile because sometimes some of these ideas are even over my head and many of the reviewers' head. Some very innovative, some have to do with quality of life as well as basic science. Now, acute leukemia has, especially acute myeloid leukemia, has really not had the advances that we'd like to see over the last 20 or 30 years. When I finished my training in 1981, yes, I'm that old. I think Kevin was in grade school when I was born, when I started my career. When I finished my career, there were two major drug classes that we treated acute leukemia for: the anthracyclines and the purine antagonists, cytosine arabnoside. And in 2016, those are still the main two drugs that we use. There's been one other drug approved, I think it was about 15 years ago, and yet for multiple myeloma, happily, in December of this past year, 2 new drugs were approved. So we're not getting the drugs we need to treat patients with acute myeloid leukemia. It's a tough disease, and I tell my patients, when you see one patient with AML, you see one case of AML because there's so much heterogeneity. But now we know what the genetic abnormalities are in these patients' diseases, and we're now developing targeted therapies. And these targeted therapies are actually generating some pretty impressive results. In the last few months, the FDA has designated 2 of these new agents as breakthrough drugs. And I heard just a couple weeks ago about a brand new drug that was actually not even developed for acute myeloid leukemia. It was for lymphoid disease. It actually is producing remissions in patients taken orally for 14 days at home. We're talking about an acute myeloid leukemia going into remission with a pill taken without side effects for 14 days. So that's the future, and that's what is on the horizon, and that's what the lab results and lab research that you all provide the funding for are finally accomplishing. I'm near the end of my career, but I'm glad to be here and finally see some changes that have led to some really significant advances in the last couple of years for new therapies, things that I've been waiting for since 1981. So keep up the good work. This is kind of a little bit of a pep talk. Go out and raise more money. We'd love to fund not 12, but 24 next year. And I think the Medical Advisory Committee would really see that as not a chore, not a task, but a pleasure. So thank you all again.